So the Chinese or the North Koreans or the Russians have invaded and you need your end-of-the-world AK. So let's talk about my end-of-the-world AK setup and why I chose what I chose to put on this build. As you may or may not know, I'm a huge fan of the AK platform, and this AK specifically is kind of kitted out to be my end-of-the-world shit-hit-the-fan AK. So the base gun that we're working on in this setup is actually going to be a PSA AK. This one specifically is the GF4. It does come with a chrome lined barrel, which was a selling point for me. So I have pretty much changed out everything from this AK from the factory for PSA. So we're going to kind of go muzzle to buttstock and talk about what specific pieces we're running. So up here in the front, we're running the Dead Air Wolverine suppressor. I have some mixed feelings about this suppressor overall, but I will say, to its credit, on the 16-inch barrel AK, this kind of seems to be the sweet spot. I've tried this suppressor on some shorty AKs, tends to overgas, and I've also shot this quite a bit on my RPK, and again, for some reason, it's just, there's so much gas. But on the 16-inch AK platform, I absolutely do recommend the Dead Air Wolverine suppressor. A great can for any AK, but the 16-inch specifically is where it tends to shine. Moving further back on the weapon, we're going to have our weapon light, which is going to be the Streamlight HLX ProTac. So this is 1,000 lumens weapon light, so it does get pretty bright. It does come out of the box with the pressure pad, as well as the little push button as well. On this build, I'm just running the push button just because where my grip on the gun, it's very easy for me to actuate that button and light. I do actually kind of recommend this specifically for like an end-of-the-world build, because it does come with a charger for this, so if there is electricity, you can charge this weapon light up, or it uses batteries as well. So it kind of gives you a couple different options if we are kind of talking an end-of-the-world situation. The handguard gas tube rail I'm running on this setup is actually the Bar Waris Alpha rail. It's kind of like a Zenecoat clone, but I do enjoy it quite a bit. I think these run for about 300 bucks. I was actually able to snag one at Clash Bash for about 200 bucks cash, so I picked this guy up, and I had absolutely no problems with it. It was kind of a bitch to install, but once I was installed, it's pretty solid. It keeps the optics zeroed, so no complaints there. Being that it is kind of like a big, bulky quad rail, it definitely keeps the muzzle down and helps with muzzle flip while we're shooting this gun, and it also helps to mitigate some heat. The optic we're running on this guy is the EOTech 512. EOTechs are going to be a solid optic for kind of like an end-of-the-world, shit-hit-the-fan situation. They're durable, they're rugged, they're going to stand up to anything. My biggest gripe with the EOTech is there's not that shake-wake technology, so I don't really love it for like a nightstand self-defense gun, but for an end-of-the-world setup, I like the 512, specifically because it uses AA batteries. In my mind, like end-of-the-world situation, there's going to be like AA batteries scattered about and everybody's like Xbox controllers and vibrators and all that shit, so they're going to be pretty easy to find, so I appreciate that fact with this as well. Moving down to the vertical grip I got on this one, this is actually a clone of the PK6 Zenecoat grip. Now, as I'm sure some of y'all AK nerds know, the Zenecoat furniture is incredibly hard to get now, so yes, this one is a knockoff. I think it's actually, I got it off like an airsoft website, and normally I wouldn't recommend putting airsoft parts in your guns. I get it, I'm gonna catch some shit for it, but dude, it's an aluminum grip. It mounts on there fine, it's solid, it's sturdy, I Loctited it in, I've never had any problems. Definitely wouldn't want to be running any sort of like airsoft optics, but for a grip, I'm totally cool running it. This grip definitely fits the kind of Zenecoat clone vibe of the gun, and definitely allows you to put some pressure into that shoulder to mitigate some recoil. Just running a standard 30 round AK mag as well, but I do have some drum mags or 40 round RPK mags that can be switched out pretty easily. One of the things I think is most important about running like a practical AK is going to be the safety. So I have a little bit of an enhanced safety here with this ledge right above the trigger. If you don't have this ledge here and you're just running the standard AK safety, it's kind of a bitch to actuate. You really have to reach and get that middle finger up there. It breaks the hell out of your grip and it's going to slow down your shot time. So for any sort of practical AK, I do recommend getting some sort of enhanced safety so you can flip it with your index finger and be back on the trigger. So the next piece we're going to chat about is the trigger. So this is the ALG AK trigger, and man, oh man, is this thing fucking sick. Probably one of my favorite AK triggers out on the market. It's a super light trigger pull and a super light reset. Definitely allows you to get some fast shots with this guy. So we're going to ghost that trigger a little bit. There's a little bit of take up, not much at all. And then that trigger breaks. The reset on this guy is phenomenal. Just gonna let it off real slow. Then that's it. I mean, it's a pretty wild trigger. These guys aren't really too expensive. I think like 100 bucks or so. So I would absolutely recommend the ALG AK trigger for any sort of practical AK that you really want to get some fast shots with. Moving a little bit further back, we got the Tango Down AK grip. It's probably my favorite AK pistol grip. For some reason, it just fits my hand personally really well. It's still pretty slim and low profile, but you're definitely able to get up on the gun and get a good grip with that right hand. These only run for about 20 or 30 bucks, and I absolutely prefer them over just like the classic Bakelite AK grip. finishing off with the buttstock. I think this is actually the only piece on this gun that I left from the PSA factory. It's just kind of their nutmeg wood classic AK stock. I did put a little bit of goon tape on the end just for the vibes. I actually am a really big fan of the shape, style, and function of just the traditional AK stock. It enables me to get good shoulder placement, a good cheek weld, and line up my eyes right where they need to be with this weapon system, so I didn't change the stock out. So I appreciate you guys watching me nerd out today on my end of the world AK build. I really appreciate you tuning into the channel. This video was sponsored by absolutely no one, so if you could do me a real big favor and subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate it. It's kind of what helps me keep motivated and stay in business. So please subscribe to the channel. If there's ever anything you guys want me to chat about, drop a comment down below and I'll be sure to do it for you. And hopefully I inspired a little bit of what you want your end of the world shit hit the fan AK build to be.